Particularly Chapter 1, despite claims from certain sources, is not an RPG Maker game, but it definitely captures that vibe. Even if it was, it stands apart from the large list of short, uninteresting elements that most of these RPG games offer, yet while also keeping the suspense, intrigue, and 13 surprise endings if you don't pay attention every now and again. This is a very brief and engaging 5-hour psychological horror game, and if you're concerned about it being a horror game, you really shouldn't be, because it's more eerie and morbid at times, which I find to be the best type of horror. And if you're familiar with games like UB Psycho, you should expect a similar experience. I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with the game, however, I did encounter situations where it would occasionally give you a retry option for certain events, but then completely game over all of the other parts. I did have to backtrack about 30 to 40 minutes since I didn't always save my game, even though I believe I did. I'd say that's more or less an issue with me, but it didn't really do a good job at warning you to save your game often. The story follows Lacey, a very remarkable and relatable young girl who believes that she has a physical or spiritual defect, that being a possession or a curse that's corrupted her life. She has no idea. All she can think about is either figuring out what went wrong and why and when her life was flipped upside down, or ultimately performing the one thing she believes that can be the only cure. It's incredibly engaging since it draws you into a scenario that many of us have gone through our high school life and life in general. There are so many questions and so few answers. Instead, you must figure out the story and piece them together for yourself. Nothing beats the immersion of a story with fantastic characters that these short-styled RPG games provide so very rarely. There are numerous surprises in every location with alternative solutions, including hidden coins, hidden objects, and secrets that you will undoubtedly miss if you're not the exploring type. But I wouldn't go too deep into it because not everything needs to be explored with your curiosity, and it does a great job at emulating the sensation of doubt that you probably should turn back now. You just have to admire the simple yet eerie visuals and the soundtrack with matching sound effects that bring an extra layer of fear into you. Even if it isn't jump scare horror, it's amazing atmospherically and quite possibly could be a little bit too morbid and disturbing if you're on the more sensitive side of things where animals will be harmed in the progress of this game. The majority of your experience will be going from location to location solving puzzles that are actually quite well designed, though some of them may be a little bit confusing at first until you understand what needs to be done. And if you're not into puzzle solving or survival elements of the game and prefer a more story-focused approach, then you can always skip the mini games. It's great to see so many games still in production by talented and hardworking developers that do an excellent job of creating multiple branched endings with a lot of depth for each location, to the point where you wonder whether you forgot an item prior that may have been used to go down a different path where you currently are now. We really don't often see short RPG games like this, especially ones for free. It's a fantastic first chapter that leaves so many things unanswered that you just can't help but want to delve more into the story. Unfortunately, you will have to wait until the two-man developer team has made further work in this episodic short story horror game that is sure to keep you entertained. So in the meantime, don't forget to show your support by checking the game out for yourself, and I would love to hear your opinion on how you felt about the game if you did check it out in the comment section below.